Welcome back to In Your Neighborhood. I'm your host, Charlotte Brown, and on today's show, we've been talking with Memo, which is Medical Equipment Modernization Opportunity. My guest today has been Dr. Harvey, who's the founder of this amazing project and program. So we were talking a little bit about shipping in the last segment, and you also have a program where tourists can take some medical supplies, especially with the direct flights now to Cuba. So let's talk a little bit about that.
That's hugely important, and the tourists that travel to Veradero, we have, actually it's a doctor, husband and wife team. The husband is a general pediatric surgeon, his wife is a maxillofacial surgeon, and your viewers will see some pictures of the kind of work that this doctor does, just incredible.
Right.
And Memo provides all the instruments and sutures and so on for her to be able to do these hair lips and cleft palates.
Right.
And all this stuff is carried by tourists, so it's extremely important. They carry medications, which is legal. You can take up to 20 pounds of pharmaceuticals legally into Cuba with each tourist with each trip, and dressings, all kinds of things like special pumps for children that will feed them if they've had surgery. That prevents them from eating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had a friend that I had connected to take some medical supplies down, and she had said, the process was so simple and so easy. There was no issues at customs. She was met at the airport by the physician and his wife, or I guess they're both physicians, to pick everything up, and they were so thankful and so grateful. So, definitely if people are going on a direct flight and they'd like to help out, we'll definitely put your contact information at the end of this segment that they can get a hold of you, because there's still lots of direct flights this
we
winter.
provide everything. It's already in a suitcase. They just leave there, or a shopping bag. Yep.
To pack in your suitcase.
Yeah, that's so valuable.
Absolutely. So I was on your website and I was reading about some Memo miracles, and I would love for you to share some stories of some of the miracles that Memo's been able to be a part of. Yeah,
I'd mentioned previously about the fact that we had wound care nurses that go. We did this in Cuba, provided these seminars. While we were there, a doctor came to us and said, you wouldn't happen to have a pediatric ventilator, because there's a little girl, she was born, her name is Sophia. She was born and there's something missing in her brain, she can't breathe. She has to, and she's living on a ventilator in the hospital. She can go home, but her parents have to have, who are both doctors, her parents have to have a ventilator. So I said, no, we don't. But, and then I'd mentioned to you about the halls, these educationalists they live in Watson Lake, Yukon.
Okay.
And they said the little 10-bed hospital here is worn out and is being replaced, and all the equipment in the hospital is available. Could you use it? And so we said yes, and there was a guy, he was actually the pastor of the local church, and he'd bought a flatbed truck, much to the disgust of his wife. His name it's a Finnish name, and guess where he came from? He comes from Thunder Bay.
Wow.
So he offered to bring all this equipment from Watson Lake, Yukon, here, and to visit his friends and to get the truck out of the sight of his wife.
Yeah.
Anyway, so a few weeks later, we were going through the stuff from this hospital, and what is in this box but a pediatric ventilator.
Wow.
And it had only been used once. They just to practice with it. It had never actually been used, so it was basically brand new. So it was exactly what they needed. So we packed it up in a tourist, carried it in a suitcase to Cuba, and it eventually got to Sophia. And your viewers will see a picture. She's just a gorgeous little baby hooked up to a ventilator. She's developing perfectly normally. So what are the chances that would just happen by chance, by luck?
Yeah, definitely
so
a
that's,
Memo
that's
miracle.
what we call a Memo miracle. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a beautiful story. So tell me a little bit about some of the challenges that you face as an organization.
Well, one of our challenges always is to find warehousing space. And for the last few years, we've been very blessed. St. Joseph's Care Group has provided us free, basically we pay the utilities, but free warehousing at the the old Lakehead Psychiatric Laundry Building, which was just sitting there empty.
Right.
So we appreciate that. St. Joe's, of course, is moving into their new facility shortly, and they'll be giving up their lease at the LPH. So then we have a warehouse. We have a little warehouse. It was a little church that's across the road from where Grace Church is, and the church lets us use that warehouse. It's about a 1,200 square foot warehouse, and but warehousing is a challenge. Raising money is always a challenge, but it's amazing. Like 72 containers, and we've you know, my boss, who's the Latin America director for the mission we work in with, won't let me go into debt. So we kind of ship as money becomes available. People are very generous.
Yes.
So there's a local businessman here, and he sold one of his businesses, and he said, God's been very good to me. We made a lot of money on that, and so here's $12,000 for your next container. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. So it happens occasionally.
Yeah.
So those are kind of the challenges, just the logistics of, like right now, we getting customs approval from Mexico is just a nightmare. But it happened, and there are people in Mexico who are working and getting this done, so it eventually happens.
Yeah.
Just have to be patient.
Yeah, that's sometimes the biggest challenge is the patience part of it.
Yeah.
So I know you mentioned you have a fundraiser every year. Let's talk about that and about what time of the year that goes on, that if people want to come out and support that.
Yeah, it's usually in October. Basically, if people are interested in that or anything to do with Memo, if they go to our website, which you're going to put up,
on the website,
memoministry.org, or if you just Google Memo, they can get all the contact information because we're not sure exactly what the date will be.
Right.
And we'll be happy to let people know about that. We advertise on local radio and so on,
And other ways that people can get involved. Are you ever looking for volunteers, people to help with fundraising?
Yes.
Any medical professionals to maybe get involved?
Yeah, yeah. We had actually a doctor here from another country who's doing a residency program, and so she came, and we get a lot of stuff from the cardiac surgical unit here at Thunder Bay Regional, and she was a cardiologist in the country she came from. She's having to, do her residency to get a license, but she knew all about this stuff. So that sort of thing is very helpful. We have our volunteers do all kinds of things. Like we get hundreds of wheelchairs and many of them need to be repaired or
right.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Just sorting through stuff. We have nurses that work with us, and so there are people who don't know anything about, like, what's this for?
Right.
I hesitate to tell you where that goes, but anyway.
Yes.
But the nurses can then tell, okay, so you don't need to have any specialized training. You just have to have a willing heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, if you contact me, what I do every week, I send out an email which tells people when we're going to be working in our warehouse. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, we have ran out of time, although I could have sit here for hours, I think, and learn more about Memo. I absolutely love what you do, and I want to thank you for being on the show today, Dr. Harvey, and for all the beautiful work that you do in the world to help other people. And if you want to get involved or get more information, be sure to contact Dr. Harvey. We're going to put all of his info up on the screen. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Be sure to watch next week with more on In Your Neighborhood.